From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to OpenLine. I'm Carrie Sharp. I'm so glad you're joining us tonight. We are going to have a lively show. I can guarantee you that, and I do hope that you will participate. I have two wonderful guests. One you will definitely recognize. The other you're going to get to know tonight. Reverend Enoch Fuzz is here with us. Reverend Fuzz, it is so good to see you.
Good evening, Carrie Sharp.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here in person. We usually listen to you on the phone.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Nashville has been good to me. And I just got to say thank you to all the people that I meet everywhere who show sincere concern and want to know how they say, I'm praying for you. And I want to tell you people, your prayers have really been working.
I want to tell our audience, because I want to get into this business with your health, but I do want to introduce Jessica Williams from One Nashville. Tonight's topic, we're talking about getting out the vote ahead of the primary, which is coming up in May, general election in August. So very important that everybody goes to the polls. We're going to talk about efforts, but first, Reverend Fuzz, I know so many people have been praying for you and your health after the lung cancer diagnosis. How are you doing? You look great.
Thank you. Everyone says that. I've been really sick, but I've had prayer, I've had good doctors, good medicine, and I want to tell you something I'm dealing with right now. I think it's an honor. I'm having to deal with opioid withdrawals. So you're on that pain medicine for pain, but I'm not in pain now. So I've started to withdraw from the opioids, and so I may end up having to go into like a treatment center to overcome that. And I think because of that crisis, I want to use it to say to people, don't be ashamed to get off of opioids. I'm told that you can overcome that. I'm going to win. And I hope my journey will inspire some other people to win.
That is such an amazing message, but also an outlook, and an important one, I think, for people, because you know what kind of a problem this is in the community. Yours brought in from cancer treatment because you had no other choice but to take this pain medication. But it is a battle to climb. It is a hill to climb.
It's a hill to climb. It makes you feel really terrible when, like, I'm used to taking that medication every day. Taking 3 a day, so they got me down to 2 a day. I tried missing a couple of days. I felt terrible. I'm blessed enough to have great friends and influential people. One of my friends is the owner of a treatment center. And he says, I have an opening for you. We're going to help you get off of this. And so I said, well, we got to help some other people too. So I just did a funeral Saturday of a young person who had an overdose. And you're hearing about this in the community. People, you can overcome any kind of addiction. I know lots of friends who overcame their addictions. So if y'all out there listening tonight, you got a family member, or if it's you yourself, don't be ashamed to overcome that addiction. All the people who overcame, they are such positive people. They talk about they are winners. And that's a good place to be. They
have a message to share. You have a servant's heart. You're always knee deep in the community, have been for decades. I couldn't even list all the things that you've been part of. But right now, I know a big focus of yours is on getting out the vote, as well as Jessica. First of all, tell me about One Nashville.
So One Nashville is an amazing organization where it brings people together from all walks of life. And we just wanted to be able to create a safe space where people can, you know, speak their thoughts, their ideas. You have a lot of great different organizations that people are leading, and you can really see the efforts take place in the city. Like once they come in, everyone's thinking, brainstorming, putting their ideas together, and then going out into the community and making it happen.
You just had a big event that went really well.
We did.
Tell me about it. What happened?
It was called Party to the Polls, and I feel like I've been blessed to be able to learn from Reverend Fuzz just how important it is to commune with the community and understand the community. And I wanted to just bring everyone together into one space from all walks of life to be able to meet the candidates in a fun, environment, you know? And so I just thought, where's a great space, which we used the Element Vanderbilt West Hotel, and they had a nice rooftop deck, and we were just praying for a beautiful day. And I called Reverend Fuzz. I said, it's gonna be raining on the day. Do you think we should go ahead and book it? He was like, yes, book it. He was like, it's not gonna rain, and it was an absolute gorgeous day.
See, look at that. You got a connection. You got to hook up. This is about bringing everyone together. You are not focused on one segment of the population. No. It is about a one Nashville. And what did you have a sense from people who came? What do they want heading into this election?
I feel like they were excited to have an opportunity to meet the candidates in a good environment. And I literally saw people looking at the mock ballots to try to understand who the candidates were, and then to try to go find them if they were in the space.
Oh, nice.
And so we created a vote box, so they got to, you know, check the box and go and drop it into the vote box. So we tried to make it engaged and interactive. I feel like they walked away with a better idea of politics. I did get comments where people were nervous to come because it was a political event, and they're like, they didn't really want to be in the political environment. But what I always tell people is, we cannot develop a community if we don't develop the people. And so we have to develop ourselves by understanding who our politicians are, and that we have the power to vote them into office.
I want to hear from each of you, because I think that you'll bring a different perspective to this, or a different life experience. What do you think keeps people from the polls? Because whenever we have an election and we report on voter turnout, especially for a primary, it's somewhere maybe in the teens or 20s, maybe. I mean, that means a lot of people are sitting at home choosing not to vote. So, Reverend Fuzz, what do you think is keeping people from the polls?
It's been a really important issue for me for the past 30 years. And what I discovered, the reason, maybe the number one reason people don't go and vote, is the literacy issue, that a lot of people can't read. And they are nervous about the technology of this voting machine. Am I pushing the right button? Am I going to make a mistake? And we should not take for granted that there are people who really can't read the names. They're not familiar with the names. You look at some of the names that are on the ballot, or just the word resolution or constitution. There are people who don't know those words. And so I feel like that there are people who are nervous about it. Then there are people who say, I think they use it as kind of cognitive dissonance. They say my vote won't matter. So they convince themselves that it doesn't matter. And finally, I blame government. I think the government could do more to educate people about what's happening at the polls and make it a little easier for people to get out. But I think the number one reason is that people really don't know what they're doing. They don't feel comfortable.
It can be very intimidating, especially even when you've done it a number of times.
Sometimes I always wonder, did my vote go through?
Yes.
You know, you're pushing this button and all this stuff happening. One of the things that Jessica did at our parties to the polls is that she was able to get the Secretary of State to send voting machines so people had a chance to practice on the voting machine, and they got to see the ballot.
That was pretty exciting.
So
it's a big deal, because when you only have the opportunity to do this every 2 years or every 4 years, you forget. I mean, I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, right? What do you think keeps people, maybe of your generation, from the polls?
So for me, I think just understanding the process. I had a development that I was working on, and it had to be rezoned. And in that process of being rezoned, you understood the political process, which I had no idea there was even a political process to take place when it came to land development, as it being my first project. So I didn't know what a council person was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I didn't understand any of it. But I got excited to learn it, because you realize that these are where the decisions are being made at. This is how your city is being developed. And so now I understand the council race, but then I had a good friend that was working on someone's campaign. And after we got our nails done, she was like, you don't want to go home. You need to get on out and about. I said, all right, where are you going? So I went with her to, the campaign kickoff event. And I got excited. I said, well, what is going on here? Who are the people? What are they running for? How does this work? And I just started to talk to the people and ask them, hey, can I interview you? You're running for a judge seat. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? So I didn't know, even though I'm a registered voter, that I could have the power to elect my judge or elect your district attorney, who are making these vital decisions of the outcomes that happen in our everyday life.
Right.
So I just got excited to be able to learn all of the candidates.
And major props for you for having the gumption, really, to ask the questions and say, wait a second, I'm really driving the car here. I am the voter, so I am going, I have the power to elect. Tell me what you stand for. That takes a lot of guts, quite frankly. A lot of people feel like the people running have all the power. Sometimes it seems a little flip-flop, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does seem flip-flop. I'm like, we have the power to ask the questions, to talk with them and understand, and then go to the voting table with being informed. And I think that's important versus just, hey, check a random box and say that you voted, which we'd rather have someone to vote than not, but it makes a huge difference when you're informed about who the candidates are when you go and elect them into office.
Most certainly. Okay, we have to take a quick commercial break. We are talking about voting tonight. If you would like to chime in, what keeps you from the polls, or why do you think it is so important? Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 615-737+. Stay with us.